History Channel.
The Shield is broken up. No more tactical gear. But here we are talking about Roman Reigns from 2014 to 2015 on the history of the Roman Reigns show with Issa the Demon Diva. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm so excited. We're getting to the fun times.
Oh, yeah. Now you get those ones up, though, because we have to acknowledge our tribal chief. He's not a tribal chief yet, though. He is still obsessed with being a member of the Shield, and that is one of the big topics of conversation here today, because we're starting off, if you missed it, episode 1. The Shield broke up, folks, and now Roman Reigns is all by himself. Seth Rollins is an evil man with the authority, and Dean Ambrose loves to wear jeans and a dirty tank top to the ring. So, when the Shield broke up, for you personally, who did you see the WWE looking at as the next big star? For me, it looked like Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted it to be Roman as a fan. I'm not gonna give you an unbiased answer on that, but when they had said do the turn, I figured it was gonna be him.
Yeah, and then heading into the first SummerSlam, without the Shield being together anymore, we have singles matches. We have Rollins and Dean Ambrose setting themselves up, but we also have Roman Reigns taking on Randy Orton.
What a match.
But in today's world, it's very simple. Like, oh, of course Randy Orton would wrestle Roman Reigns at a big event. But in 2014, this is not the case. Roman Reigns just got off being in a faction. Randy Orton's only been rubbing shoulders with people like Undertaker, John Cena, Kane, Big Show. How important do you think it was for Roman Reigns to be the first one out of the gate to take on someone outside of the Shield?
That's when I started realizing maybe they are actually behind Roman, right? Because when you ask a question when they first break up, you automatically think, wow, they have said do this. So what's gonna happen now? But when you start seeing the programs that they're putting them into, that's when I, as a Roman Reigns fan at that time, was like, oh no, they're about to strap the rocket on Roman, because not everybody gets Randy. Randy's a big deal.
Yeah, and especially 2014, because again, as we record this now, 10 years later, Randy Orton's still a star, but he is rubbing shoulders with everybody because he knows his time is dwindling down. In 2014, Randy Orton is still at the peak of his game. He is still in the prime. He is still being catered to as one of the main top 5 stars in the WWE. And Roman Reigns taking on Orton at SummerSlam, setting this up. Oh my God, I remember going into this being like, damn, like they got a lot of momentum building up for Roman if they want him to fight Randy Orton, not at just a Payback or a Fastlane. We're talking SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer, the second biggest event besides WrestleMania, at least at the time. Now you decide who, Royal Rumble or Crown Jewel, whatever you want to say. It's different, but yet.
How many people get to say, hey, my first singles after I stepped out of my faction match at a big pay-per-view was Randy Orton? Tell me, like, how many people get that? Not everybody can say that,
That's true. That's actually a really good point because, again, like I said, I want to hit home with people who are enjoying this Wrestling History Channel that Randy Orton in 2014 is not just fighting anybody. He is picking and choosing who he gets to wrestle when he wants to wrestle because he is that big of a star. Roman Reigns is, in Vince McMahon's eyes, someone we can, put the company behind. We have Rollins already off, doing great. We have Dean Ambrose, a lunatic fringe. But Roman and, I think, Orton, I want to make sure people understand how important this was to Roman Reigns' development as a main event star. This is the beginning of it all, and there's still no hate on Roman yet. Building up to this, Triple H is announcing who is going to take on the world champion at SummerSlam. Everyone's in the ring. Roman ends up spearing Randy Orton, setting up this matchup. And we don't have social media telling us this match is going to actually take place. It's WWE.com breaking the news that Roman will take on Orton. And think about that for a second. How I feel so old when it's like, it's not Twitter, it's not Twitch, it's not TikTok telling us, it's WWE.com telling us. Like, how strange is that?
I saw a video of Adam Pearce on Twitter, before the show, telling you what match is gonna happen.
Isn't that crazy?
No, it is crazy. They used to do a lot back in those days. Like, people don't realize a lot of times the show will end and you will have to run over to WWE.com to see like the next 5 minutes. Remember, they will put it up on the show so you would know what happened after. You wouldn't go to Twitter and find a fan video. No, you will have to go to WWE.com to see what happened. They will play with their website a lot, but we were visiting that website a lot back then. I can't remember how often I go to it now because I don't. But back in these days, I remember making it almost a daily stop.
Yeah, I only go there for ticket events when they're coming up or when there's merchandise. Like, that's about it. I don't.
Right.
And spoiler alert, I did not buy this head of the table hoodie on WWE.com because it was like $70. Amazon, folks, $25. Just saying. Just saying. Replica belts, folks. Replica belts, $100, not $800. Be smart.
Wow.
Be
On
smart. Don't be
Amazon?
stupid. Amazon.
That's crazy.
Don't be stupid, folks. But Roman Reigns beats Randy Orton at the SummerSlam, setting up for a
Yes.
big thing. And we're thinking, holy shit, like, all right, Roman just beat Orton. We are heading into this new phase of Roman's going to be the main baby face. He's going to be the guy. But an injury takes him out. He's supposed to take on Seth Rollins at Night of Champions a month later, and that's going to be this big revenge. Oh, Roman wants revenge for being turned on by Seth Rollins. It doesn't happen. Roman Reigns actually has to have emergency surgery for a hernia, and he's out for 2 months. Now, again, WWE Network, not .com, the network had updates all day long before this event acknowledging that Roman Reigns was going to be hurt. And they update us on his surgery. They update us on everything about that. I think people don't remember how great the WWE Network was because they were treating it like as a television channel, like a ESPN, right, where we're going to update you all day long with crawls on the bottom, giving you what you should watch, what's going to happen next. How important do you think the network was to fans in the beginning? Now we got to watch Netflix. We got to watch USA. You got to watch ESPN. You got to watch this. You had the network. That's all you had.
It's so hard to describe it, Steve, because it almost feels like you had to be there kind of thing for it, but they try to make it. If you think about it, that back then, the NFL network was launching, MLB network was launching, and they have something happening at all time with the scrolls, and WWE was really trying to replicate that. And I miss it. I feel like with the WWE Network, it's just we didn't know what we had. It was so ahead of its time. We just never knew. I kind of did, though. I feel like I did. When they took it away, and I know that's not what this podcast is about, I knew what we were losing. Like, I love the network. I used it for everything. I love having a place to go for the news, especially at this time, right? Mm-hmm. And there wasn't that many dirt sheets. I know that now you just search a name of a wrestler on Twitter and you find everything you need to find. But back then, it was like a handful of wrestling dirt sheets. People were not paying for these services either. I know that the Observer have like the paywall forever. People were not paying back then for wrestling news because WWE will put them to you all day long anywhere you wanted to see them.
Yeah, that's a good point about that too. And yeah, the network, as you brought up, there was no way that you were able to say like, man, I really want to watch an episode of Raw from 1996. Well, shit. It was on the network. Now you're like, I don't even know where to look. Do I go on the vault on YouTube? Do I go on Peacock? Is it still there? And you brought it up too. The WWE Network was revolutionary. We didn't have Peacock or Paramount Plus or Apple Plus or Disney Plus or whatever other goddamn entity that exists, HBO Max. Everything did not. This wasn't around. All we had was Netflix, and they'll get those DVDs in the mail. And then you had WWE Network with... They had original programming, they had classics, they had current events. You were paying $9.99. $9.99. Now,
you know how a lot of times people say that sometimes they feel like WWE tries to erase history, like in a weird way. I feel that way with the library, because with the network, it was so easy for you to go, man, I really want to watch this Roman Reigns match from this day. You know exactly where to find it. Now it's so messy that you almost don't want to go through the trouble of it.
I go on YouTube and I'm like, Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton SummerSlam. Damn. Randy Orton, Roman Reigns versus, damn. And I'm like, can't find it.
That's what I'm saying. The vault doesn't have everything up. The library is too big.
Agreed. But with Roman Reigns, he had to have emergency surgery and he's out for 2 months. And usually this would deter someone. This would ruin their momentum. It doesn't for him, but how do you think that, let's get inside Vince McMahon's brain for a minute, where clearly Roman Reigns just beat Randy Orton. All right, so you had Randy Orton lose, you had Roman win. Well, now Roman's out for 2 months. That if I was Randy Orton or Vince McMahon, I'd be internally upset about this because you just sacrificed Orton for Roman, but now Roman's out for 2 months.
Yeah,
Not
but
Roman's
it happens.
fault.
It's injury. It happens, but I see what you're saying. It's like, I'm about to strap the rocket on this guy. And yeah, there goes that. We got to keep him off TV for 2 months.
Yeah. He had, again, an emergency surgery for a hernia that And if you check out Roman Reigns' other interviews he's done over the years, he has mentioned how he was suffering this whole entire Shield run with an injury like that, but yet now it's too serious. Now he can't go through the pain. He has to get the surgery, so he's out. And at Night of Champions, Seth Rollins comes out to pretty much say like, "I beat Roman Reigns. I did it." But Dean Ambrose, who was taken out earlier in the year, he returns. But what was he doing? He was filming a movie that I never watched, but he was in 12 rounds 3. That's right. The third 12 rounds. It's also called 12 rounds 3 lockdown. Just add more shit to it, you know? Did you ever
I never
see?
watched it. I never watched it, but as soon as you brought it up when we were, going over things, I just remember the marketing of it. I remember how much they promoted it because as soon as he said, "Oh, the Dean Ambrose movie," the first thing I yelled was, "Oh yeah, 12 rounds." And I never seen it, but it was because they were trying to shove it down our throats so much during this time.
Yeah, they really wanted us to watch 12 rounds 3. Now, before we go on to more about Roman Reigns, have you ever watched like when the WWE before would hit you over the head with The Marine or See No Evil or Triple H as like a babysitter, I think, and I with the girl from Modern Family? Did you ever watch those movies? Were you ever convinced I need to see this?
No, I watched See No Evil, but it was just I'm a big horror movie fan. So like it was just like, how are you gonna like wrestling? A lot of people tell me how you gonna like wrestling and horror and not seeing See No Evil, So that one I did see, but I go out of my way to watch WWE produced movies? No, Steve, there's so many of them I haven't watched and I don't plan on.
How you did not see 12 rounds 3 lockdown or 12 rounds 2 unlockdown, I'm guessing?
No, but it's so funny because at this time, I don't know if people understand how bad WWE wanted to like get the WWE movie studios over because like I just remember how much they would market these movies. I know so many movies and so many people that were in it that I never watched, but it was just like the marketing that they were doing was so in your face that you can mention the movies and I never seen it. I know
So,
it was Dolph Ziggler and I believe Rusev might have been on that too.
oh man. Yeah, there's a picture I think of Rusev holding a gun.
Yes.
And that picture still to this day appears throughout the internet when someone doesn't
It's
like
such a good
Rusev.
meme. You know what? My new favorite thing, off topic, but my new favorite thing is wrestling out of context.
Oh,
It
yeah.
makes the best memes.
It's true. I know. And I did make a few memes here, but this was so simple where you just use your phone and the a simple picture. It was really barbaric. Now it's like,
Right.
oh, I gotta get this. I gotta put my thumbnail. I gotta do that. I gotta do this. It's just a whole different story. But yeah,
Yeah,
different
it's
times, different
exhausting
places.
now. It's exhausting now.
I know. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. December 2014, though, Roman Reigns does return from his injury, and he continues his feud with the Authority. But we are clearly setting up for the Royal Rumble 2015.
Yeah, he was a clear favorite. I don't know what was wrong with people.
Now, where do you think? Now, we're going to get down in the weeds. Where do you think the hate began? Because the man beat Orton. He's out for 2 months, okay, with an injury, a real injury. He returns, and then the hate starts to grow. Why do you think it started to grow?
I don't know. I don't. To me, it never made any sense. And I went through it for years of this Roman because we're about to get into it. It was very hard being a Roman Reigns fan back then. It's not now. Now it's great.
Oh, no,
But
yeah.
back then, and I could never make any sense of where it came from. I think, like, the best theory that I could give people, because people will come to me because, the Roman girl, I think it's because they try to make Roman such an underdog. And I don't think that somebody that looks like Roman and carries himself the way the Roman does is an underdog. And there is a way to book the baby face dominant without making him a jerk, because back then the face and heel was such good guy, bad guy. It's not as complex as it is now. And I feel like you cannot make somebody like Roman an underdog. Nobody's gonna buy it. And I think it wasn't a Roman thing. It was the way that they were pushing Roman. I think everybody was aware that he was about to be the next big thing, whether we liked it or not. I just don't think they presented him the right way.
Yeah, they kept trying to feed Kane and Big Show as this dominant duo taking out Roman. Nobody wanted to see Big Show in 2015. Nobody wanted to see Corporate
Yeah,
Kane in
but Roman
2015.
gave him a hell of a freaking match.
They had good matches, but it was very like we got to use weapons. We got to get.
Oh yeah, of course, but
We got to think about
Big
this.
Show was very limited with Roman, But at the same time, I just remember that I think was it a Last Man Standing? They had a Last Man Standing at one of these pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Hell of a match, probably one of Big Show's last like really good matches, and And people, they want to, a lot of times I can understand, the presentation, but a lot of times I also feel like you're hating just to hate because it was cool to hate him because it was sometimes that he was putting on good matches. He wasn't even on a title picture and people were still hating what he was doing.
It's just shocking, yeah, how quick it happened. Now, I think one of the big theories here is Daniel Bryan. Daniel
Yeah, of
Bryan is
course.
someone everybody wanted to win this Royal Rumble. Everybody wanted Daniel Bryan to repeat what happened already at WrestleMania 30,
He
setting
had
up
his
another
moments. Let's
scenario.
move on. Jeez.
Unfortunately, with WrestleMania 30, when Daniel Bryan won, he had two back-to-back matches after that against Kane on pay-per-views, and Daniel Bryan had to step away from wrestling because of his injury. He
Not
returns.
Roman's problem.
That's true.
I'm
It's not
sorry.
Roman's problem. You're right. It's not Roman's problem. But the problem is fans wanted to have that same feeling back again. They wanted the WrestleMania 30 to happen at 31. This time he's healthy again. Let's just repeat it. Let's play that hit one more time. Vince clearly is like, no, 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 no. We already did that. We already gave him that moment. We're going forward with the Roman Reigns, who, if you do the math, at WrestleMania 30 was on a 3-on-3 match. It lasted like 35 seconds. So
Yeah.
we're here. We are. So do you think the hate really starts with the love for Daniel Bryan and is not being reciprocated through Vince McMahon and creative? So we're going to take all of our
Because
love
every time
for
they
Daniel Bryan
give,
and turn that to hate on Roman, the guy you want us to cheer.
because every time they give, every time they said, okay, fans, here you go, have what you want. Unfortunately, an injury happens and you have to rewrite entire angles and this and that. And I'm not trying to take it out on Danielson, Bryanson, Dragonson, but every time they put a
Dragonson.
belt on this man, he will get injured and everything will have to we will have to put things together to start telling these stories again. And at some point, you gotta say, well, maybe we should slow it down there. And I mean, again, the thing that I just told you is like they're trying to present Roman as this underdog that he's not. When you have this person who is a legit underdog, just in a silver plate, I can see the differences there. Now, controversial and personal thing, because I know we're trying to base this very history, but I'm not the underdog kind of person. I don't watch wrestling because I want to see somebody that looks like I can relate to, overcome. No, I want to watch people larger than life be
Yes.
cocky and be arrogant. I like my wrestlers to look like wrestlers, and that is probably known by the people who I prefer, my favorite wrestlers, right?
Mhm.
So I have I and I'm not a very empathetic person. So it's like you give me Daniel Bryan, and I'm like, if I can kick his butt, I don't want to see him win all these things. I want to see somebody that looks like that's the people that you should be like, wow, and that's
Yeah.
that's what I have like a weird thing because I'm like, yeah, because what world would it make sense in real life that Brian could overcome 29 guys and win a rumble? No.
Tell me how you really feel about Daniel Bryan.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was so happy when Roman won that rumble and seeing the reaction.
Wow. Now, I'm guessing a lot of people felt the same way you did, but just not at this Royal Rumble in particular, at the event on Twitter this evening, because
I will be posting a clip of my reaction when
oh,
Roman Reigns came out. I found it on my iCloud when Roman Reigns came out at the 2015 Royal Rumble, so you guys can see how excited I was to see him. I'm not making this up. I wanted to see this man win the Rumble.
wow, wow. No, I remember personally, I wanted Daniel Bryan to win because of the same thing. But at the same time, this is where the Roman Reigns hate really just throw that wood on that fire. Because when you have, like I said earlier, when you have Kane and Big Show, which nobody likes in general, no one, people are bored. People are chanting like retire Big Show to him every time he comes out. That's where we're at in this world. If you don't know, the fans are turning on everything they're doing with the authority because it's not the. And that's when Triple H would be like, I'm going to go tell my friend and go on my computer and I'm going to type that I'm angry about what's happening. It's funny because that same audience all grew up and became wrestling journalists or grew up and went to go work for ESPN or go work for SportsCenter and things of that nature. So I guess that came true, Triple H. But this ending, the final four, you got Kane, you got Big Show, you got Roman, you got Rusev, who we thought was eliminated, but he wasn't eliminated. But Daniel Bryan's tossed up a Bray Wyatt in the middle of this matchup.
Bray Wyatt was so badass in this Rumble.
He tosses out like everybody.
Yeah, at one point he's just cutting a promo in the middle of the ring by himself because he had tossed out everybody. I love Bray's performance in this Rumble, and I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough because he eliminated Bryan and the Roman hate and the Daniel Bryan not winning, and I'm like, I have vivid memories of Bray Wyatt in this Rumble because I really liked him, but that's when I really like, oh man, I'm in this bandwagon forever.
And the crowd was eating it all up. They were dancing with him. They were singing
Yeah.
with him. But yeah, Daniel Bryan's tossed up by Bray Wyatt. And that's where all of it goes down because in the next 15 minutes, we'll have to watch everyone we don't want to see win. We're like, well, I don't want to see this guy win. I don't want to see this person win. There is a highlight in this, and we're still confused because technically Roman didn't win this Royal Rumble because Curtis Axel never made it to the ring. Eric Rowan attacked him on the outside. Axel Mania is still running wild. Here
To
we
this
are.
day. Yep.
It's facts. Those are facts, Issa. Those are facts.
I used to love when he would use it on his promos. Good times.
It was pretty funny. But Roman Reigns eliminates Big Show. He eliminates Kane. And then The Rock shows up and he's hitting Kane with spine busters and people's elbows. Roman Reigns spears Rusev, who we thought was eliminated. He slips back in. He's tossed out. Roman becomes the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 31, which I can't wait. It's going to be fun to talk about as well. But The Rock, you've seen this image. The Rock is holding Roman Reigns' hand, and he is shocked because the crowd is booing and booing and booing Roman. Now, you're telling me you were happy to see Roman Reigns win. But the audience was not happy. Twitter was not happy. You could type in Roman Reigns' poopy on Twitter at this point in time and get 100 retweets because there was no algorithm. There was none of that shit. You could type in anything you wanted. It would actually work out for you. What were your thoughts on The Rock's facial expressions going, I was called in to help and it looks like I'm not helping at all?
Yeah, The Rock didn't get booed. Rock would never get booed as a surprise appearance. Even though I do remember this is one of the very first things I remember being spoiled. For some reason, I remember people saying The Rock was gonna be there for that Rumble. Um, I just remember being in shock. And remember, I'm like 2 years in, from really like watching again, and for me, it was unfair. Like, why is nobody behind this? Like, The Rock is there, like, raising his hand. Why can't you people get it? And then, like, people were so upset about it. And another thing that never made sense to me is just stepping away from Roman Reigns. One of my favorite triple threats ever happened at that Rumble. I'm like, how can you say this Rumble was so terrible? John Cena, Brock Lesnar, and Seth Rollins tore down the house. You got
Yes.
your $9.99 or your ticket price worth just in that match, right? So even if you're not happy with the Rumble, you should have walked away saying, man, I really watched that triple threat. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But like, I just couldn't understand, like, and again, I'm very biased. I'm emotionally involved in this story, in this character, in Roman Reigns. So for me, it was unfair. I couldn't even go on social media. My nephew was with me because I flew him up to watch the Rumble with me, and he's scrolling and showing me what people are saying. And I'm like, would you stop?
You're hurting me. You are hurting me.
Stop now.
It's just funny that a year before this, when Batista won, Roman Reigns was the second to last person is Roman Reigns. He gets tossed out. They're cheering for Roman the whole time, wanting him to win. Year later, he actually does win, booing him out of the building.
Terrible. They had an interview for WWE.com after, and I thought it was such a funny interview with The Rock and Roman backstage. And I remember thinking, why didn't they do that on stage? Because I remember like laughing, like I got a couple of chuckles out of this interview, and I was like, why not have them cut a promo, after the show goes off the air? But maybe they were afraid people were gonna stop throwing beers at the freaking ring. That's how hostile it got.
The Rock was pretty sweaty too when he's holding him up. He's holding
Roman is all bloody that he couldn't even celebrate his Rumble. He has not yet won another Rumble after that, so I can imagine the PTSD this man has to have about winning the Rumble.
They're like, let's not do this again. Let's not.
I thought he was gonna win last year, but Jey Uso.
Yeah, I did. I was one of those people as well. I didn't know who was gonna win that year, but yeah, there was a lot of thoughts on who should win. But yeah, it's just strange. You get 1 year, 2014, cheered. 2015, booed out of the building. Things have changed. Obviously, the wrestling fans were becoming smarter and going, oh, you want to push him? Oh, we are not going to let that happen. But yet, John Cena sucked chance for 10 years. Guess what, folks? You could boo all you want. And maybe that's kind of the thing, is for 10 years, for a whole decade, we saw what happened with John Cena being pushed and defeating all of the heels. And people wanted something new, and maybe Daniel Bryan was that new for them. But Roman Reigns, in Vince McMahon's eyes, is this new John Cena, just in a new version of him.
But in our own toxic ways, we talked about this toxic relationship we have with wrestlers. Steve, like 90% of the time, they end up being right. Look at us right now crying over John Cena retiring and appreciating him, even those of us who chanted John Cena sucks. Look
Yep.
at where Roman is now and the way the fans see him after we went through this period of time we're about to talk about. At the end of the day, I do think that Vince had an eye for he knew who was gonna be the next guy, no matter how long it took to get him there. This guy was gonna get there, and eventually we were all gonna have to eat our own words. Not me with Roman, but with Cena, for example. I have such an appreciation of him now. When in this era that we're talking about, I couldn't stand him.
Yep. Yep. Is that when he wins the Money in the Bank and it's Cena wins, LOL, and he's holding the briefcase, and people have memed that forever too. Same exact thing. We will get to a big giant meme heading into WrestleMania 31 in a minute, but we're heading into Fastlane though after this Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns is convinced by the authority you should put up your championship opportunity you shouldn't fight at WrestleMania. You should just give. And Roman's like, okay, yeah.
They wanted to make up for the Rumble mistake instead of just doubling down and then saying, no, this is our Royal Rumble winner.
Nope, they did it the opposite way. I feel like they added more hate to Roman Reigns because on Raw, Daniel Bryan defeated Seth Rollins to earn the right to face Roman Reigns at Fastlane. So now you have the guy, Daniel Bryan, it's not everybody. A lot of people wanted to win the Royal Rumble to go on to WrestleMania to repeat 30.
That group.
That's why I didn't say everyone. I said some people. Some people. But yet now you have Roman Reigns, the guy that some people are saying, I hate him. I don't want him. Stop doing what you're doing. So now you have the guy everyone loves and the guy that people are starting to hate fight each other at Fastlane. In what world does that make sense for making Roman Reigns popular? What, the Daniel Bryan sprinkle his magic on Roman and we're all going to like him suddenly?
Yeah, I don't know why they would think that. I hated that I like the result and but I hate this booking in any kind of perspective. When somebody goes on and wins an opportunity and then puts that opportunity on the line, they done it with the briefcase a couple of times. I think it's the stupidest thing. Nobody on their right mind would do that. I just went through this grueling match. I won it. No, screw you.
Yep, I agree. I think it's always the dumbest thing when a babyface is like, there's 10 guys in the ring, and they're like, hey, you're a loser. You're like, I'm a loser? Well, I'm going to come down and beat up all 10 of you. And all 10 guys beat you up. Like, how smart are you?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, doesn't matter whether you're a good person or a bad person. Like, tell me, if you're in this situation in real life, would you do this? If you earn a promotion at your job and somebody says, oh, she doesn't deserve to be promoted, are you going to say, okay, well, let's take a test and see who passes and that person? No, I got promoted.
Yeah.
They saw something in me they didn't see in you.
Yeah, very, very baffling. But yeah, Daniel Bryan loses to Roman Reigns at Fastlane. And then they have the moment where Daniel Bryan, again, holding Roman's hand, like, yeah, he's the guy, guys. We should cheer. You should cheer him. Nothing could be more obvious than, hey, Daniel, we need you to go out there and make Roman Reigns popular. And it was a great 30-minute match. Like, seriously, watch it. It's very, very good.
It's a great match.
But yet, I don't understand the sprinkling and the holding of the hand and pointing at someone and saying, like, you should cheer him. The more you tell me to cheer someone, the more people are going to put their feet down and go, I'm gritting my teeth. I'm going to boo him even louder now. Like, the logic was confusing.
This one, while I wasn't part of it, I understood the backlash. You know what I mean? Because as soon as they booked the match, I was like, this is stupid. This is dumb. It's I don't know why they're doing this. Even when Brian was raising his arm up in the ring, I'm like, stop doing this to him. Why are you doing
You're
this?
Hurting Roman.
Like, yes. I'm like, you are going to make people hate him. And you're really having a hard time trying to put a case up for him, you know? And it's just like, yeah, WWE, you're not helping right now. No. It wasn't very, this because we were very active and we were, we started podcasting together shortly after this. But there wasn't a lot of people defending Roman at this time, and it was very hard for those of us who even try to defend him because it's like, yeah, no, what they're doing. What am I gonna say? I
think that's the biggest problem with this. I have nothing against a story of Roman Reigns becoming this new guy and being the man and all that stuff. I just have a problem with how logical are you when you look at the situation if you're writing creative to be like, okay, the guy everyone loves, let's have him against the guy that people are kind of iffy on. And that will help the guy that he's kind of iffy on. Like, that doesn't help anybody. I don't
At all.
I don't understand. Like it's like a celebrity endorsing another celebrity. Like, oh, you should like him. Like, no, we don't like him, and now we don't like. We are a little mad at you for doing what you're doing. And he's told by his bosses, you have to do this. But hey, it did set up us for Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the first time at WrestleMania 31, and the final segment before this WrestleMania. And I feel
No,
like
don't talk about the tug of war, please.
this is the first WrestleMania heading into this. I remember because Twitter was active before WrestleManias, but this is really where Twitter became like it started growing at a heavy rate, where fans were thinking, I don't feel like I don't feel like I'm excited for WrestleMania. The WrestleMania build is not getting me excited. And from this point on, I feel like every WrestleMania has the same tweets, the same TikTok videos now, Instagram posts, whatever. It's the same thought of, I don't feel like they're giving me this WrestleMania build, and yet we got a fucking tug of war between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Not a physical encounter of spears and F5s. It's Brock with his championship. Roman looks at it and they just start grabbing it and they're tugging back and forth, back and forth. That's how they ended the last episode of Monday Night Raw heading into WrestleMania 31. Now, this moment has been memed to death. Adding a Snickers bar in the middle, adding a Playboy of Sable I've seen. I have seen multiple. Nintendo 64 is a good one too. Is this the first WrestleMania build that people are not accepting the matches that are being put out there for the fans?
I Steve, you know Roman is my favorite. Who is my second favorite? Do you know?
Is it Seth Rollins or Brock Lesnar?
It's Brock Lesnar. So, of course, this is another situation where I'm like, I'm super excited. Why is nobody with me? And the thing of it is, it's very easy to say these words now in hindsight, right? We're traveling, time traveling
Yeah.
from the future to talk about this. But at this time, and based on the people that I liked, I'm like, okay, my three favorites, because the third was Rollins, and he was facing Randy, and they had a great brawl going into WrestleMania, which I was like, oh my God, they're gonna. Well, first of all, I was like, I feel like they didn't give us enough with Brock. With Seth and Randy, they did too much. Where I was like, what are they gonna do at the match? They already killed each other on Raw. But you had the ladder match, which was gonna be excited. So I'm going into this. You have Bray and the Undertaker, where Bray built this entire feud on his own back, and you're like, is Taker even gonna show up?
Yeah.
I was excited for WrestleMania 31. I will say, I told you I didn't want to talk about it. I hated that go home segment because it's like you have Brock, who is cutting promo saying he's gonna leave Roman in a blood, piss, and vomit. That's what he said.
I forgot about that. The blood, piss, and vomit.
Right, so I see it lives in my head.
It's in your brain.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and then they're just playing tug of wars. Guys that look like Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, which we go on to see what they can do, because I don't care what anybody says, golden match. I love WrestleMania 31 main event.
Oh my God, yeah.
To the end.
Yep.
And that's what you have them do. So it's just like, I'm excited for Mania. I think the matchups are good. I think people in retrospect watch WrestleMania 31 and go, oh, that was really good, and don't even realize it was going to be that good. We tend to hate and not really just sit back and see what they give us. The card was good. The people that I like were in good position, so I'm not understanding what maybe I just have a hate relationship with the internet in general.
I think that might be the case where, for you personally. But no, honestly, I think this was the first time social media played a big part on the feelings heading into WrestleMania. Previous to this, the first 30, the first at least 20, 8 of them didn't have really social media involved at all. But I think, I'm not saying this is a bad WrestleMania, but I'm thinking this is the first WrestleMania where fans who didn't have a voice now have a voice because of social media, and they're putting out their feelings towards this. Maybe they felt this way over the years, where we were heading into, once in a lifetime between John Cena and The Rock, and then twice in a lifetime the next year. There was nobody was fueling the hate. With social media heading into 31, the fuel was there because people were upset with Roman. Now we have Twitter. It just was a evil combo heading into this. But you're right about that Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match at WrestleMania 31. We'll talk about the cash-in, of course, but the match itself feels very real because
so good.
After these matches, you see so many planned spots, and again, I love repetition. I love to feel nostalgia about things. Roman Reigns gets in the corner and does his ooh-ahs, and Brock F5s and German suplexes. We're used to that now. At WrestleMania 31, Roman Reigns gets his ass handed to him. And it's not he's gonna give him 20 German suplexes. There are kneecaps to the face. Not like, he sort of touched him. Like, you see it.
I
I'll
know.
never forget this spot. Roman is on the second rope and he's on the apron and Brock just knees him right in the face and he just
Yeah.
falls out and they slow-mo this. They repeated
Yeah.
over and over and
Don't
over
forget
again.
also that we're talking Brock Lesnar, who UFC has to custom make gloves for him because his hands are so big that they didn't have his size when he would fight. And at one point in the match, he removes the glove to hit him with his, to slap him with his bare hand. That I would never want to imagine what the slap feels like, which they also slow mo, and you can see he did not hold back.
Yeah.
However, we do see one of the hottest things I ever seen, which is Roman Reigns laughing at him and saying, "Is that all you got?" Which I thought was so brilliant. This is how you have to sell Roman. The way that Roman was fighting Brock, where you see him getting to Brock, because Brock is like, "I'm giving it all I got," and this dude is half dead but half laughing at me. And you know, Brock is such a real character at this time. He didn't speak. We just saw the beast in corner, and he will speak. He will say, "We're gonna leave you in your own blood and vomit." So you almost didn't want him to speak. So and there was a moment there, the stare down between the two of them before the bell rings. They look like main eventers. They look like stars, and you're just looking at the entrances. Like it just felt larger than life, and you're like, yeah, this is what, if I'm gonna invest my money, this is what I want to pay to see. This kind of thing that you don't see every day. It's like it got later on beat, but this was my favorite Brock and Roman match, which they go on to feud forever. Might still be feuding. This was my top match up onto the last man standing match, and I think that one at SummerSlam recently, and I think that one was just so gimmicky that it has to become a favorite because they just brought
The
everything out,
tractor.
including a tractor. But WrestleMania 31, and this is even before the cash in. I'm glad they did the cash in because I think it would have been a lost situation because people are also never behind Brock, which I will never understand because Brock is such a star. And we're not going to get into that because, it's controversial now. But I think Brock is such a star. And back then, he wasn't naming anything illegal. So I could never understand also why people could not get behind him because I'm like, because he's a part timer. That's how you conserve your body after a certain age so that you can continue to perform a certain way. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. That's why Brock can still perform at the level that he performs today because he conserved his body early on.
Well,
Also, if Santa Claus came every week, would you be excited for Christmas? No, there is something to having someone not be there all the time. It really freaking works. If your birthday was every day, nobody would celebrate it. There's something to somebody not being there all the time that really works.
I love that you compared this match or Brock Lesnar to Santa Claus, Suplex City, bitch,
Because
that's
somebody would try to always tell me when I would try to defend Brock at this time, because I went on, I started watching wrestling, and I'm like, I'm just gonna pick everybody that nobody likes, so I can be miserable my entire wrestling, my entire life as a fan, But people will tell me he's not there all the time, and I'm like, there's a reason why you get excited for things that don't happen every day. There's a logic behind it.
Now, I wonder if heading into this event, now here's the real kicker in the face because in my brain, if I'm Vince McMahon, it's like, okay, he usually is very like, oh, I'm going to do what I want. Fuck everybody else, Vince.
Mm-hmm.
So having Roman beat Brock here for the championship, big moment, it's WrestleMania, we got fireworks, the crowd. That to me was the most logical situation for this match.
Yeah.
I think that everyone believed internally, like, well, they're shoving him down our throat, so obviously he's going to win. Then the cash in happens. Why do you think Vince McMahon would pivot to this? Because Roman wasn't accepted yet, so we're going to put him through the ringer of having the trials and tribulations to try to chase Rollins, because we didn't get that last year because Roman got injured. He had to go get a surgery. He was out. Was that the plan the year before and he earlier
At
it didn't
this
happen?
point, at this point, I think that Vince really still wanted to push that underdog, and Roman had not gone through enough tribals and stipulations to
I got you.
really be the champion because he really wanted to push this baby faced underdog in Roman, the guy that got betrayed. And one fight with Brock, even though he gave it all he had, it wasn't, to me, that's not enough to say, oh my God, he fought so hard to get this title. No, he won a Rumble and he went on to WrestleMania. That's like the one-on-one of wrestling on how to become a champion. That's
Yeah.
not going through trouble or growing as a character, right? And at that point, people were they weren't there with Brock because he wasn't there all the time, as we discussed. I think pressing the panic button on set it was not a bad idea. It's still one of the greatest things that we've seen. But I thought because if you go back and watch like the 24, and they even put out a Roman Reigns documentary, they followed him that entire week around. It seemed like up until that night when the decision was made, they were really gonna put the title on Roman at this time, just based on the way that they were presenting it, and based on what we know now after the fact, that was a night off decision.
Yeah, it was the heist of the century. Seth Rollins coming down, cashing in,
When
adding
that
to this.
music hit,
When
oh,
he hits and he runs as fast as he can, now he wouldn't be able to run that fast. But he in 2015
hey, be nice.
he was saying to himself, "Hey man, this is my moment. I'm the guy."
And
Because
you never expected it. He lost earlier on. Took one of the greatest RKO's we ever seen. You really just
greatest.
wrote set of your mind for the night after that freaking crazy RKO he just took.
It's true, and I think Seth Rollins, and over the years, has done interviews where he keeps saying he's the Macho Man, and Roman Reigns is Hulk Hogan. Where Rollins is never going to be the guy; he's always going to be underneath Roman.
Mm-hmm.
But in 2015, it really showed you, like, hey, we got a major heel in our plate here. Royal Rumble, you said I didn't mention it, but that Royal Rumble you did, the triple threat between Brock, Cena, and Rollins is the
That's
greatest
when
triple threat of
my
all time. Anyone can argue that point. They'll say probably Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Chris Benoit at WrestleMania
no
20 is the greatest triple threat. I'm sorry, it's
no.
not. It's Brock, it's Rollins, it's Cena at Royal Rumble 2015. It is the greatest triple threat. I will die on that sword
Me
because it's
too.
true. And I think that night Vince saw Rollins come out and be like, "Holy shit, we got a new heel in our hands. We got a new
That's
star in
the
our hands."
thing. So at this point, I'm watching, but I'm still letting my nephew kind of guide me through, right? My nephew who's a huge John Cena fan. And the funny thing is that after we watch this, because I'm behind Roman, right? So he's trying to get me to find my other favorites. And I told you who are the other two, Brock and Seth. So my nephew was so pissed that I like finished watching that match, and I'm like, holy crap, Seth Rollins is amazing. I think I love him. And he's over there mad because John Cena didn't win. He's like, you're not supposed to like him. But the triple threat was when I was like, oh no, no, Seth is amazing. That's like really like I have seen it before, but he was just jumping off of high things and being like the shield guy, and then you hate him because he did that to Roman. But you watch him in this match, and that's when you're like, oh no, this is a main eventer. He just fought John Cena and Brock, and the highlight of the entire match was Seth. The person who wasn't even supposed to be seen in this match is the one everybody was talking about. He became a main eventer that night at that triple threat.
True. I agree. And again, he cashes in here. Rollins has the championship. He throws it over his head. He's swinging
He
around.
pins Roman.
You've seen this
Pins Roman.
monumental moment. It's going to be remembered for a lifetime, I think. But Roman does not win. And as you mentioned, there's documentaries where Paul Heyman is talking to Roman Reigns backstage after this event. Roman's entire family is there.
Yep.
Everybody, his aunts, his uncles, his kids, everybody's there because they expect him to be the champion. It doesn't turn out that way. And like you said, clearly Roman's told beforehand, hey, you're winning the belt. Bring in your entire family. It brings his entire family. Nope. Because I'm guessing the internet was like, this is too obvious. The heist of the century is one of the most shocking moments. And I feel like since then they've tried to pull it off again in a way. But sometimes surprises can only happen every decade. And this is one of those
Can
moments
I
where you're like, damn.
Can I flex a little and say that I was having a viewing party for that WrestleMania, and I had like papers on the wall for everybody to like put who they thought was winning what match. I had like match cards, right? And you write down your name and who you thought was winning. For the main event, I wrote down Seth Rollins. And I have a picture of this. I wrote down Seth Rollins. And all of my friends at my watch party thought I was crazy. So I saw it coming. I might have been the only one. That might be one of my greatest predictions ever, because everybody at that, I had a lot of people there. Everybody was like, you're crazy, you're crazy. And I'm like, as soon as the music hit, everybody was like, no way. And I'm like, I just didn't think that there would be a win with either Brock or Roman walking out with the belts, just because of how the fans were reacting to them. And WWE at this time is showing that they do tend to bend the knee to the fans, especially the online discourse. They don't want to admit it, but they freaking do every single time.
Every time. We don't listen to people complaining online.
Well, no, those are not real people. Next thing you know,
Yeah.
you don't do The Rock versus Roman. Come on.
But then Triple H also is admitted he sits on his phone and he scrolls Twitter, but yet you don't pay attention, but yet you're scrolling Twitter. I'm sorry, sir. That is not making sense. You're talking out of your mouth on both sides.
Sometimes I see accounts online and I go try to wonder whose burner that is. Just based on the tweets, and I don't like fun Triple H.
Hang him high is obviously Triple H. Come on, we know. We all know that. We all know that. Come on, get with the program. Heading into Extreme Rules, though, after this, it's funny because Seth Rollins takes on Randy Orton in a steel cage match, and they both get to pick the stipulations. Randy Orton picks steel cage. and Rollins banned the RKO, but Kane is also the gatekeeper. He's in charge of the key to the steel cage, and he's not supposed to open it if Randy Orton tries to get out. Lame as shit. I'll never forget. I did a whole podcast about how dumb that was. An audio podcast that doesn't exist in this realm anymore. But Roman Reigns took
Your
on Big
podcast used to
Show.
be the best, especially the hangover ones the next day.
Oh my god, I was so hungover. That's when I was young and I could drink forever and be fine. And then, the Buzz podcast. But yeah, Seth Rollins retained his championship against Randy Orton, but Roman Reigns took on the Big Show, as we described that last man standing match where
So
Roman
good.
Reigns cannot figure out how to beat the Big Show. He dumps the table, the announce table, over on top of Big Show, allowing Roman to pick up the win. And I think, again, there's ingenious ideas how to defeat someone, and this is one of those moments because, as again, years will go on, they try to figure out how do you defeat someone like Omos or Big Show or Great Khali. Oh, just dump something on them. This is like the first time I feel like this is the beginning of let's just pile things on someone, and we'll be able to pull this off. What did you think of Big Show and Roman Reigns matches? You said
I
earlier
mean,
you enjoyed them.
yeah, I liked the match, and I thought that it was like kind of cool to see somebody finally like give Big Show a good match because at this point nobody just wanted to see Big Show on their TV anymore. At the same time, with me being like the biggest Roman simp in the world, I'm like, how do you go from main eventing WrestleMania to fighting the Big Show at the next pay-per-view? Like, what's going on here? Like, how far back are we going, and how are we going to rebuild him? Because if you want him to be the guy and you don't think he's ready for it, putting him with the Big Show next, it's not gonna help the situation either.
No, it wasn't helping at all. At all. Like I said, Roman Reigns fighting people we don't want to see wrestle in general. And now you're
They
having
just set him
to
up for
beat them.
failure.
It's a weird 2015, and heading into Money in the Bank, possibly they finally started realizing that
Oh my god.
things have changed because Roman Reigns is in the Money in the Bank match, and we have Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, Dolph Ziggler, Neville, Kofi Kingston, Sheamus, and Corporate Kane. Near the end of the match, Roman Reigns is about to win. Everyone's booing. Everyone's very unhappy. But yet, Bray Wyatt shows up and attacks Roman Reigns, costing him the victory. Sheamus eventually wins the briefcase. We are off to the races with Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns, who we talked on our last History of Roman Reigns podcast, how the Wyatt family and the Shield is a moment people should still go back and look at and go, damn, that was awesome. And now they've realized Roman and Bray, that's money on the table, right?
I loved it. I wanted to be so mad at Bray because, of course, I want Roman to win all the opportunities. But as soon as the lights went on and he shows up, and I'm like, this guy could really give Roman a compelling story that could give either people to get behind him or because people love Bray too. I love Bray too, At the same time, I was like, or at least a story that you can invest because Big Show is not it, right? But Bray, I'm going to be seated, get my popcorn ready. So I was super excited. I wanted to be mad, but I couldn't be because I knew what this feud was about to be. And still to this day, even with the Tribal Chief era, one of my favorite Roman feuds ever.
Oh yeah, and one of the greatest, it doesn't happen here, but one of the greatest gifts ever was the night that they decided to turn Bray Wyatt babyface.
Oh my
and,
God.
and Bray Wyatt hits Sister Abigail and then takes his finger and just points at someone, and Roman comes shooting with a spear and they pin. That is like the greatest moment of all time.
After WrestleMania, the WrestleMania that followed.
Yeah, and I think actually Bray Wyatt, something happens to one of those wrestlers after, then they don't continue working together.
Because it was the League of Nations. I'm sorry to bring it up, but yeah. But that's still, I had that on my favorite.
I'm talking about League of Nations. No, Sheamus and his dingleberries on his face and his stupid mohawk. Yeah, I remember. Though heading into Battleground, another pay-per-view that no one really goes back and go, oh, I can't wait to watch that. July 19th, 2015, Bray Wyatt takes on Roman Reigns. Again, I think they realized, let's keep beating down Roman so maybe people will cheer him. No. Bray Wyatt ends up beating Roman Reigns because Luke Harper returns to the WWE and he reunites with Bray Wyatt because the Wyatt family, just like the Shield, broke up, but the Shield actually had a breakup in a big monumental moment. The Wyatt family just one day stopped being together.
Right.
Which was
weird.
The dumbest thing ever.
We'll talk about that when we do our Wyatt.
Yeah, we'll do a Bray Wyatt podcast after we're done with Roman, and I will tell you how angry I was around that time. Is that you? Do you think that's the reason of like, let's defeat Roman over and over again so people will start sympathizing with him?
Yeah, they're doing it again now. They do this to Roman a lot through his career. You'll see because I'm used to it, right? Put him on top, kind of like de-elevate him, beat him a bunch so people can find him again, and then but I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad at Bray. I love that Luke Harper came back. I thought it made sense. So I was not mad at this defeat. He had just win against the Big Show. He didn't do, he got eliminated at Money in the Bank. So I wasn't mad, and I thought it was good for Bray.
Yeah, I've always been, as you know, I've always been a huge
Bray
fan
was
of
to
Bray
you
Wyatt.
what Roman is to me. At this time, at this time in our fandom, and it might still be that way, but Bray was to you. We should do the best Bray Wyatt impersonation ever.
I haven't done one in probably like a decade.
But Bray Wyatt was to you what Roman was to me at this time. So I'm sure you were very happy to see Luke come back and finally make sense, because the Wyatts not being together never made any sense to me for that period of time.
No, breaking up without a real breakup. It's
Right.
like you have a husband or a girlfriend or a wife or whatever, and out of nowhere you just stop calling them and stop hanging out with
it's
them.
called ghosting.
Oh,
Luke Harper ghosted Bray.
Did we break up? Why are you mad at me? Why are you answering my text? Is Luke Harper in his dirty tank top texting Bray
From the woods.
Yeah, in the woods, in his rocking chair. I have your rocking chair. Will you please be friends with me again? It was just so bizarre. And then it gets even stranger because we're heading into SummerSlam, and when Roman Reigns is defeating Luke Harper on episodes of SmackDown and Raw, well, Bray Wyatt's there. Well, Roman needs a second person to help him. This is when they kind of reunite Roman Reigns with Dean Ambrose, and we start talking about get the cold beers, and I'll get the beers, and you get the beers. You had to be there, folks. You had to be there. Fun. It was so bizarre. Now, why do you think they reunited Dean Ambrose with Roman? Because they're trying to keep these people apart because they don't want people to keep thinking the Shield's going to get back together.
Because the people loved Ambrose and they couldn't figure out what to do with Roman. So, we put him against Bray, but the people were rooting for the Wyatts in this situation. Well, guess what? They like Dean. Put him with Dean.
I did think that at the time too, like, oh, well, if no one likes Roman, how about we put someone they'll like, so they can't. If Dean Ambrose is next to Roman, they can't boo Roman, because technically, aren't they also booing Dean Ambrose?
No, they weren't. You can tell.
Dean Ambrose tried to help him, but heading into SummerSlam 2015, it's Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper.
I was at this SummerSlam, and at one point, Roman is out of the match forever, and there was a Roman is sweeping chant. And I remember thinking, they still don't like him. Huh? My nephew's sitting next to me like, they're not going to like him. They did, eventually.
It took another 5. It took a pandemic to make people like Roman Reigns. It took COVID. It took a world shutting down for fans to appreciate Roman.
If anybody that watches me and you were at SummerSlam 2015, please let me know if you remember the Roman sleeping chant. I was so aggravated by it.
He must have got, again.
No, he was gone for the match for a while. They just let Ambrose wrestle the majority of this match. I haven't gone back and rewatched this match ever. I might have to now, just to see if I can hear this chant, because it's one of those memories vivid. How I was at the Roman sleeping chant.
It's so bizarre because, again, I think the logic is, well, if he's not in the ring, they can't boo him. So let's keep him out of the ring so they won't boo him. Instead, they're like, oh, he's sleeping.
They still figure out a way to crap on him when he's not doing anything.
Hey, he's laying down. We should boo him. No, I got a better idea. We're going to cheat. We're going to make a chant about sleeping.
Roman sleeping. I remember it so clearly. I wanted to punch everyone, but there was a lot of people. There was 15,000 of them and only one of me, Steve.
I think a lot of fists would have been flying.
Yes.
This was before they took your bottle caps at every event because you would throw them into the ring. Not you personally.
Oh my God.
At every arena. Now I'm like, how am I supposed to carry all these drinks? There's no cover.
It's so dumb. Or the beers or anything. Or sometimes I'll put them in a cup and not even put it and you're trying to walk down to your seat.
And you're way up top. You got to walk all the way down or sit up. It's like, I don't have the arms to carry popcorn, pretzels, 2 drinks.
Oh no, and then you figure out how to do it, and you get to the aisle, and there's somebody from security like, "Can I see your ticket?"
For years, I have developed all right, when I get all my shit, I need to have my ticket in my hand, so it's going to be like hanging off my fingers.
Yeah, but we don't even have that, so you have to be holding your phone like this because we don't even have physical tickets anymore like that.
That's a good point. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Roman Reigns did wake up eventually, spearing and winning the match. Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose win at SummerSlam in a tag team match. 1 year ago at SummerSlam 2014, Roman Reigns took on Randy Orton, where we thought this is the beginning, and now it's a tag team match. Is this just to save Roman from being booed?
They're trying to figure it out. With Roman, they did a lot of like throwing things to the wall to see what stuck, right? Where with John Cena, I feel like Vince might have said, no, this is the guy and this is gonna be the guy. And you look at John Cena's career and it was always like this. You look at Roman's career until this day, it's like this. When it comes to where he's at on the card, they always done this to Roman throughout history.
Remember when he quoted Looney Tunes, Sucker and Succotash?
Please not.
Do you remember? Do you remember,
No,
Issa?
I don't remember.
It sounds like you do.
I don't. I don't.
Roman sleeping.
Oh my god. I have so much
Sucker in,
PTSD.
Succotash.
I have so much PTSD from being a Roman Reigns fan in this. And I gotta tell you, I enjoy the years on top, as the tribal chief, I do. But obviously you can see there's still pent up emotion from these years that I had to deal with.
Well, I actually, it's a secret therapy session for you. I asked you to be on this podcast, not for talking about Roman, just to let out all the feelings.
I appreciate you.
So you can get it all out. So when we're done with the series, you'll be a better person. You'll be better in this world. You'll be able to contribute to society versus hiding from the hate that Roman was receiving in 2015.
Right.
That's how I look at that. Yeah, it just felt like Roman Reigns getting back with Dean Ambrose was to save him from being booed. And again, as I brought up, if you don't know, there's so many memes of it too from 2015. You have to do a lot of Google searching to figure it out. But Roman and Dean were always obsessed talking about beers, being dudes. And I think that was what they're trying to do. Like, Roman can be like a dude, like, yeah, dude, let's go get some beers and hang out, bro. Like, no.
They were bros.
Please don't do that. But there you go, folks. There's from 2014 SummerSlam to 2015 SummerSlam, Roman Reigns' rise, fall, being booed out of the building. We didn't see The Rock for years after this.
No, The Rock didn't want anything to do with Roman until he became the tribal chief,
Yeah,
That's what The Rock does. The Rock will get involved in a storyline and then be like, oh, this isn't working. I'm not going to show up again.
See ya.
There's evidence. There's evidence to this. I don't know why people are surprised he just pulled it off again.
There is a lot of evidence. It's just so strange. We go from, Randy Orton to surgery to winning the Rumble to getting his ass handed by Brock Lesnar to Rollins cashing in at WrestleMania to authority storylines to, hey, dude, let's get some beers. What a weird year for Roman Reigns.
Roman's career is literally this, and it's fun to look back in retrospect. And I'm not just saying this because I just love him and I love talking about him. It's because they really didn't know what they were doing with him, and they still don't.
It's true, but I'm so happy we were able to talk about 2014 to 2015 SummerSlam, Roman Reigns' career here on the Wrestling History Channel, because next time we're going to get a deep dive into Blue Contacts and more main event matches that we were told to appreciate and love, but a lot of fans did not. And again, this show, it's interesting because the show we're doing is for fans who, either love Roman or were watching wrestling during this time. There are some people who are like, only talk about things that happened 35 years ago. It's like, I'm sorry. Some people who watch the show are only, say, 18 years old. So they're not going to go back and watch shit that happened 35 years ago. They're very excited to talk about current events. And so I'm glad we're here talking about these things because Roman Reigns is the tribal chief. He's the man with the Bloodline storyline that helped establish the WWE being dominant right now in the market. At this time, we have 12 rounds, 3 lockdown. We ain't in Hollywood. Nobody's saying we want you to be in a movie.
Who am I? I'm Rusev.
You look like Rusev to me. You look like Rusev. But Issa, what are your final thoughts on this year for Roman? What are your feelings about this?
I just thought it was all over the place and I didn't know what they were going with it. And it was funny because I got some moments and some matches that I love and remember and go back to watch still to this day. WrestleMania 31, I go back and watch that a lot. Like that main event is one of my, those days that you're like, I'm just going to watch my favorite matches. That one always makes my lineup. But at the same time, it just really just felt experimental and you really didn't know if this guy was going to be the guy or not. At the same time, you have Seth just flourishing and becoming so big and becoming so awesome because 2015 Seth was incredible. We might have to do a podcast on Bray and Seth. So you're sitting there wondering like, oh my God, this Seth kind of like, just
he's going right over him.
Right? The match of it just become Hulk Hogan. What's going on here? So it was a year of a lot of wondering and questioning and not a lot of character growth for Roman, just a lot of trial and error.
Yeah, man, especially because when the Shield broke up, Dean Ambrose changed, Seth Rollins changed, Roman still had the same music, same head, same gear, same entrance. And I think that's why a lot of fans also were angry towards him because they weren't satisfied with him just taking what the other three built all together. He took it all and was like, "Oh, I can do this by myself." Like, no, we
And no
loved all of
motivation,
you.
no motivation. I believe his tagline, like the merch going into WrestleMania 31, was "I can and I will." Like, okay, okay, bro, but why? Believe that, like, okay, but why? Why are you so driven to do this? They never told us the why behind him.
Good point. And especially when this move originally occurred, the Superman punch, we're like, we all love it now, but Jesus, you're like, so you're just gonna say you're Superman and you're gonna fly and punch someone? Fuck
Yep,
you. That's what people thought. They didn't think.
right.
They
I
didn't
do
think. Oh,
remember
this is
this.
awesome. They're like, that's like, oh, I'm gonna do the Batman punch. You like that?
Right.
No, but now we love it. We're nostalgic about it. In 2015, nobody was happy about this. Oh, some people, like, including yourself. I don't want to lump you all in. I don't want to lump all wrestling fans into hate because some people hated him, some people loved him. But I could seriously I told you earlier, I could type in Roman Reigns is poopy on Twitter and boom, 100 retweets because that's
Yeah.
how intense the hate was for Roman
Oh, I
Reigns
know.
in
I know.
2015. But all in
I
all,
know.
thank you for being here for another edition of the History of Roman Reigns right here on the Wrestling History Channel. I'm Steve Fall. She's Issa. Have a wonderful day. And remember, every day you wake up, don't forget to acknowledge your tribal chief. Have a great time, and
Amen.
we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.